All right, let's get down to it. Let's answer the question that's on your mind, and that is why no one is listening to your music. We're going to be getting into rolling up our sleeves and getting down and dirty and figuring out this really perplexing answer, especially if you're an artist, because you spend a lot of time making your art, and communicating that art to the rest of the world can be a tricky thing. So, who am I? My name is Kev Rowe. I'm a lifelong musician. I've got over 150 songs on Spotify. I've got almost 20,000 monthly listeners. Not that that makes a difference. It makes no difference whatsoever. But some people are listening to my music. I've got over 800 videos on YouTube. I've a large social media following, but hey, none of that makes a difference. This video is about you, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. So the first thing, why I feel like no one is listening to your music, and it has to do with the content that you're creating as an artist on social media. I think many times what happens is people don't know you're a musician. Like, they need to know that you are a musician, you are recording songs in the studio, releasing them on Spotify, and are out in the world doing gigs, writing, practicing, rehearsing with your band, traveling to shows. If people don't know you're a musician, they're not going to listen to your music. So all the content that you're creating on social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, needs to include the idea that you're a musician. And if you're creating comedy videos or posting pictures of your dog or your kids or doing commentary on political issues or whatever, or just reposting memes, or if your content does not have you, the artist, the musician, as the central figure of the content itself, telling people, your social media following, that you are a musician, of course they're not going to be listening to your music on Spotify or anywhere else. And they're not going to come to your local shows because they don't know that's what you're all about. So if I think this happens quite a bit, where musicians make music, release it, and then get romanced by the engagement, reach, and views of other types of content. And then before they know it, their whole feed is a bunch of content that has nothing to do with them making music. It has way more to do with them being a growth hacker and getting more views, more reach, and engagement on other things that are easier to get those things on. Because it's hard to be a musician and capture an audience and have them stay loyal to you for a long time. Usually we have smaller audiences because our content is based on audio. It's not a purely visual thing. So to get people into your audio world takes... Now, I'm not saying don't publish variety. Within your world of being a musician, there's lots of things that you can do. Like an infinite amount of things that you can do. Stories that you can tell, pictures of you on the road, pictures of you at playing festivals, playing bars, writing your songs, recording your songs. I mean, the people that you're playing with, the fans that you have. Like, it's all about community and representing, showing that to the rest of the world. Like, you are a musician. So that's step one. Your content has to be showcase you as the artist and let people know that there is music to be listened to on Spotify. So I'm not saying just like, my new single is out now. No, not that. It's got to be way, way, way deeper than that. First of all, you need to talk to your audience like I'm doing now and tell them the stories about you as a musician over and over and over again. And before you know it, they'll start listening. So, yes, there's the content that you're making probably doesn't showcase you as the central figure. And then so that's the first factor. But then the other factor is the community that you're constantly in touch with and posting content to. If people aren't listening to your music and you are showcasing yourself as the central figure who is the musician, but people are still not listening, then it means that the community that you're communicating with are not people who listen to music on a regular basis. And this is a big problem with social media. Shout out to Jesse Cannon, again from Musformation here on YouTube. He does a great job. He's a music marketer. He does a great job of communicating to musicians that community is really the most important thing. You need to create a group of people on social media who enjoy your genre of music because they are down for the cause. They will go over to Spotify and listen to your music even if it's not as good as the top people in your genre, because they want to support all tiers of the genre. So if you're a folk musician, and I don't know, I'm going to use James Taylor, for example. You play intimate James Taylor folk music, kind of like I do. And your production is not nearly as good as James Taylor's, which mine is not. But that's another video. I have great production, though. All of a sudden, this video is about me. No. You're in folk music and James Taylor's at the top. Well, there's a whole folk music scene that supports every artist in the folk genre. And I do so much to connect with that genre in every way. Whether it be organic posts with the right hashtags, showcasing me as an artist, whether it be affiliating myself with other folk artists in the genre, creating Facebook ads, Instagram ads, meta ads, whatever you want to call them, and having them only target people who like the Avett Brothers or the Wood Brothers or James Taylor or Amos Lee, and every tier down the line. So my music also falls into Americana music and a little jam band music, and I hook up with all those communities too. So it's about micro communities. And I also hook up with people on Submit Hub, other people who love my type of music. Also on YouTube here, on Instagram. So it's all about micro communities and putting my content, which showcases me as an artist or a specific person within the genre who has influence and really understands the genres. So my genres being Americana music, folk music, jam band, and a tiny bit of country music. But yeah, the folky stuff, the acoustic stuff. Creating that content and showing it to all those micro communities who love it and support it. And then they go over to Spotify and listen to my music over and over and over again. So it's about repeat listeners. And this kind of speaks to some of the downfalls to the hacks that are out there on YouTube to actually get monthly listeners on Spotify and streams and the big numbers game that everybody wants to play when it comes to Spotify and getting more monthly listeners so that they can jockey themselves as a real artist. A lot of that is fake and is just based on algorithms and playing the game that works behind the Spotify machine. that doesn't necessarily put you in front of the people in your genre. So again, Jesse Cannon, thank you for your work. He's always preaching community first, Facebook ads way down on the pole. And I'm all about that myself. So, and doing live gigs. Like, you're not going to make a deeper connection with someone than pulling up in your local venue in your van, lugging out your gear, setting up, doing sound check, doing a show, people from the community coming in, seeing you there, sharing this super high quality experience of time and beautiful music together. And then afterwards, going out, shaking all the hands, saying hello to everybody, and making a connection with your audience. Like, that's the best way to get people to listen to your music. Have them discover you live, and then they'll come over to Spotify just naturally, because they'll be like, oh, I love that thing that I got last night. I want more of that thing in my normal life. So then they start listening. But yeah, those are the two things that I really want to focus here on why no one is listening to your music. It's the content and your positioning, your branding as an artist, as a musician. All of your content needs to be centralized around that. And it's the communities that you're putting that content in front of. Yes, play live gigs. That's the way. One more thing. I do think it's really important to have reasonable expectations. And this speaks again to the Spotify game and always chasing the numbers, monthly listeners, streams, the idea that you can create a career just based on streaming royalties. A lot of these things are not really real. So what that does is it implants this chip in our brains as musicians that we have to have all these, we have to reach these certain numbers in order for people to actually be listening to our music. But the truth is, people are listening to your music. They're just not in the numbers that you feel satisfy the Spotify algorithms or the rest of the people who are measuring those stats, who are all in the music business anyway. They're the only people who care about those stats. So, people are listening to your music. Don't get so hard on yourself and think that you need to hit these new levels all the time. A great music career goes step by step by step, and then when you're in your 50s and 60s, you can still be playing music to people who really love your genre. And so that's really how it's done. People are listening. Just be patient. Keep working. And I will too. I'll see you out there. Bye.